Chris, heading into the cup game tomorrow night, how are you feeling ahead of that game? Obviously, a distraction from the league, I guess, but one you'll still want to win.
Always, yeah. I think you understand sort of my mentality towards everything now, getting to know me personally and how I tick, and it's a game that we want to win, of course, regardless of what team we put out. We're going to have to be realistic. There's a huge game that we've got on Sunday. Every game in the Championship's huge. But obviously at this time there's got to be some sort of realism in terms of the team that will be selected. Will it be fully? No, I don't think it'll be fully for Sheffield United on Thursday. I don't think West Brom will have a fully. I don't think a lot of teams in the Championship will have a fully, but it's an opportunity for some players to get valuable game time. It's an opportunity for some young players to impress, and as always, when they pull that shirt on over their head, there's a badge on the left hand side of it. It is on the left. That they represent themselves, the teammates, the football club, and the supporters in the area. And I think you recognise how my approach to any game, like saying, whether it's watching the 23s at Darlington pre-season, whether it's Sunday morning walking down here and seeing the young kids pull on that red shirt and run around and play well. Of course, there's got to be an enjoyment to it, maybe at that age a little bit more. But we want them to go well and progress.
Yeah, and of course last season with the FA Cup run, we all saw the kind of positivities that come out of that, and the connection and the great feeling around the club that was built around those special nights.
Yeah, it was a brilliant part of the season, wasn't it? The FA Cup, even the first game where we sold out against Mansfield, it's the early start where you have to get through that game. So to get to to get to the Man United, to get to the Tottenham, to get to the Chelseas, you had to deal with Mansfield, and we're going to have to deal with Barnsley on Wednesday night. But as I said, it's a game of football that we want to go well in and win.
Yeah, and in terms of, you were talking about the selection and where you'll be for the game, how kind of hard or easy is it to make them decisions? Obviously, medically, that kind of side of it will obviously take some decisions or make some decisions, but in other decisions, is there cases where you're kind of thinking, I'd like to play him, but actually I want to protect him?
Yeah, that's that. I'm being realistic. I am, and honest, that we have got a couple of knocks, bumps and bruises from the weekend, so we have to look at that game. I don't like doing it, I really don't, but we have to look at that game as our priority on Sunday in our league campaign. We're not from a squad point of view and a depth point of view. We're not, for me, long shot off where we want it to look. 22, 23, 24 senior players. And I think you recognise that, and everybody recognises that when they look at our bench at the moment. There's a couple of conditioning issues in terms of players that can't really go through and do 75, 80 minutes at the moment, even 90, and there's obviously a couple of other issues that we have to look at as well. So there will be a sense of protecting some players and not risking them. As I said, we're not at that situation now where we can make oh-so changes, and they're oh-so changes with maybe one or two kids floating about that, because in terms of the squad and on the bench, there's been a lot of participation and rightly so by the young ones in terms of being involved, which is always something that I'm very loath to. I don't see the reason why you go into games with 5 subs or 6 subs when you've got an opportunity of the likes of Sonny Finch and Aidan Hackney, Keelan Boyd-Muntz, and the other young ones being involved with the first team. And there's always that opportunity and experience that will make them hopefully better and give them a taste of what it's like to be involved with a first team squad.
Yeah, and I guess, with the changes you make, be it, first team players who maybe haven't started the first 2 games, or youngsters, that's what it is for them, isn't it? It's an opportunity to impress.
There's always an opportunity to impress. every time, whether it's when you walk out on the training ground, there's always an opportunity for everybody. There's never a downside to playing well. There's never a downside to doing well. You know, the conversations that we have when we walk in from the training ground, the first conversations in, well, what's for dinner, or you know what we're doing later on, or you know have you seen this or have you seen that? It is fully on the standard of training and who did well and who didn't do well, and what we need to do, and we always go through that process. So that connects to the opportunity to impress, and there is always an opportunity to impress from everybody.
Yeah, and you get that question out of the way because it comes all the time. Are there any updates on there?
No, we've got nothing would be happening before 12 o'clock. Yeah. So that obviously is a cut-off time for registration for involvement in the game on Wednesday. So nothing will be happening before then.
You mentioned after the game on Saturday it would be a pivotal week, as you said it. So hopefully things progressing towards maybe having one or two in for some.
Yeah, we know we need two as well for the players that we've got. They need a bit of help at the moment as well. You know, I've got to say, looking back at the first two games, you know, there's been quite a few positives. There was obviously negatives in the first 20-25 minutes. From sort of the way we went about and allowed a talented side to get into their stride and the goals that we conceded, but there's been quite a lot of positives as well. You know, the general performance against West Brom, and then West Brom take Watford apart last night. 70% possession, amount of chances that he had. So you're looking at that game and you're looking what we did to West Brom. You're looking at the second half performance against QPR. So this, it feels not great, of course, because you're here to win. We have to put a balance on it as well. I have to be sensible in my approach as well, not to be too negative about it all, because I'm sure, as we talked about, bringing better players into the football club to help the good players and raise the bar and raise the standard is only going to be beneficial to us all. And we're still 21, 22 days off the end, but I think everybody recognises we it's not going to be sort of little bits towards waiting for one. We're still looking for a chunk of players to come through the door. And sooner than later, in my opinion, and I believe from above as well.
Just finally for me, Chris, one you revealed after the game with young Josh and an injury for him. I know the plans were to loan him out this month if everything went right on the incoming. So will that injury affect that at all?
I'm sure Is he going to be fit in the next 21, 22 days? No, but he should be a young boy progressing. Hopefully quick healer and be working tremendously hard. So I'm sure as well. With the loan market, going through to January the 1st, that there'll be an opportunity for Josh, and if not, he'll be part of the group. But still, I think there'll be an opportunity for Josh to go out on loan, and maybe he might have to do his rehab here before he goes. So I still think there'll be big interest in him. But he if not, he'll be part of the group, and we need a bit more out of him. I don't think he's had maybe the start to the new season, pre-season that he would like, and maybe this has just compounded it a bit. But these are young players that are learning and have got to go through the tough periods. Maybe just a lack of form coming into the new season for the standards that we expect from him, and maybe the injury has knocked him back. But he'll reset and go again, and he'll be okay and fine. He's got good people around him, and we'll push him and give him the confidence and hopefully the sort of belief with himself to sort of get himself back to where we know he should be.
Callum Cavanagh then, what's his sort of prospects within the first team? Is he Is he going to a similar bracket to Josh, where you want him to head out on loan and get some experience?
Yeah, he went out on loan last year to Harrogate and was sort of floating about their team, and they've got to be good enough as well. That's the top and bottom of it. So he needs to progress, and he needs to do well whatever level he's playing at, whether he's playing at the 23s, whether he's playing out on loan, or whether he gets an opportunity to be involved in our first team.
Mm-hmm. Just regarding Duncan Watmore's issues, you've touched on it in the last few weeks. Are those sort of reoccurrences of kind of his long-standing problems then? Is it?
Yeah, a bit. I mean, we have to monitor and modify really because of unfortunate situation that Dunk was in, a few years ago. So these players, this happens to players, but Dunk's attitude towards it is great. His work ethic is fabulous, but now and again we just have to pull him out and modify him and maybe treat him in a little bit of a different way. But still, he played his games last year. He was involved last year, and obviously, him being involved. If you look at the group now, he's a senior striker out there, really, isn't he? You've got Tubbo, Duncan, Force coming into the football club. Delight for him to get his first goal on Saturday. I thought it was a bright second half performance as well. When we were on top, he was he was lively and sharp and bright, and getting a goal wouldn't have done him any harm. So if you look at it, the three players that we've got at the moment at the top of the pitch, Duncan's obviously by far and away the most experienced one.
You touched on Force just then, and you've talked about kind of getting him up to speed and up to scratch. Is there a time scale you've placed on that kind of thing, or is it just?
Well, it's not overnight. It's not that pill that you can just take and all of a sudden he becomes a 90-minute player. So it's just about an attitude, the work that obviously we'll put into him, and his attitude towards it, which is absolutely spot on. So sooner than later he'll get up to speed. He'll be involved on Wednesday night, so more minutes into him, which will be good and will benefit him and us.
So this, obviously, our playing on a Wednesday night, we've been lucky enough to be playing just weekend to weekend. So how does that change the preparation during the week?
Well, we've got a game on a Wednesday night, so we have to deal with it. So yeah, it's how it is. The Championship's we're going to have to get used to it as well. So we've got 2 midweek fixtures coming up early on in the Championship as well. So Watford and the Stoke game. So we'll have to get used to it. But it's not ideal, obviously, with the situation we're in at the moment, Rob. With the lack of depth that we've got and a couple of conditioning situations that we're working through and obviously, and I think everybody would respect this. If it was, if you were in March and it was a quarter final of the League Cup, would we put a strong side out? Of course we would. At this stage of the season, we've got a big game on Sunday as well. But I think everybody respects that. But it's, as we talked about there, Craig talked about it. It's always an opportunity for young boys, and this might be the start of somebody's promising Middlesbrough career that they get off and running with a really good performance on Wednesday night.
And obviously it's an opportunity to win a game, isn't it? To sort of get that mentality.
Yeah, I mean, I've always said, there's no downside to winning, and it's not doom and gloom. We're disappointed that we've not won one out of the two games, and I think everybody would understand that we've had great opportunities to do that, but we've not taken those opportunities, and we shot ourselves in the foot, especially on Saturday. But a lot of good things that came out of the West Brom game, and second half performance was terrific, where we absolutely dominated the team, but finding that last little bit and giving ourselves a mountain to climb, is going to make it double difficult. We can't afford to do that. So we would have sat here with a first win, but it's not. We're not. I know where we're at. I know what our priorities are. I know position specific what we need. I know what we need from a mentality. I know what we need from a team point of view. What players we need to get in. We all know these things. I think that's the biggest frustration for it, Rob, is that I've known it I've known a couple of it for quite a long time. But getting it, knowing it and getting it done is two different things. I know that, I don't want to give the game away, but I know where we're at really, and I know that if we had or could or maybe should have or been fortunate enough to do, would that have given us a better opportunity of winning both games? Absolutely, 100%. But the game didn't work that like that, and there's been obstacles being put in our way. Obstacles put in our way in terms of, the Jed Spence situation. Obstacles put in our way in terms of the Tav situation. So these are things you've got to work round and work through. But I'm sat here now knowing how I want it to look, and if I got it to look how I wanted it to look, then do I believe that we would have got more out of the both games? Absolutely, 100%.
And I guess you can take something out of the fact that you make that change at half time. Paddy McNair plays in a different way, the passing, Tubbo sitting up front and almost changed the whole game around. But I guess you didn't have enough depth on your bench.
Well, 100%, 100% with Paddy. He's a huge player for us this season, so we know the importance of it. And Tubbo's done great. So I would like to have been in a situation where we'd have started Tubbo. Would Tubbo have started if the situation was a little bit different? Then yeah, of course he would. But we're having to make, the changes that we had to make on Saturday when we're in our flow. We had to bring Marcus Forss off because he would have got injured and he would be out for 4 to 6 weeks. So he'd run his race. We had to make a change at half time to get ourselves back in the game. So I think, as I said, people understand sort of the issues that we have, and maybe I've got at the moment, and trying to work through it. Then with the last 15 minutes, we have to make that change. We have to move. Does bringing a young kid on, 16-year-old Sonny, in that game give us the best opportunity of getting a result? That's the decision I have to make. Or do I put an experienced one at the top of the pitch in Matt Crooks, and hopefully things fill in behind with Tommy coming in? It's Championship football, by the way, and QPR are going to be up there, in my opinion, with the players that they've got. So the change, as you can imagine, is quite a difficult one. Keep Paddy there, keep Crooksy there, put on young Sonny, move Tommy to right centre half, put Paddy in midfield, put Crooksy up front. They're not straightforward decisions, and but still, I think we all recognise in terms of everything that we did in both games. Possession, chances created, crosses, where we got the ball to. But it means nothing because we didn't get a win out of the game or didn't get a result out of the game. So obviously that's the biggest stat that we all look at, and one that we need to change.
So hopefully you can change it on Wednesday with a win.
As I said to you, we're not going in there. We're not going in there with a negative attitude. I ain't got a crystal ball. If I had my full team out and where was that, would it give us a better opportunity of winning the game? I suppose it would. But we all want to progress and to go through to the next round. There's nothing about in my personality or character that wants to go out the competition as it stands and say, well, let's get knocked out. Then we've got a bit of a clearer run at it, this, that and the other. I think that'd be quite disrespectful to me if people think that's my attitude towards it.